Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well from your end. Today we want to do a very short scenario on a personal budget tracker. It's based on financial literacy and education. A number of people have been requesting this, and today I decided to give a snapshot of what is expected for an individual case. So we decided to come up with a template just to show you how to keep your budget on track and how to follow it. This one could be done either on a month by month basis or on a yearly basis, or you can do month, then later you can lump sum up to form up one financial year. So we decided to divide it into three so that you're able to know how much you have in terms of revenue or income. You could be either also to have your expected budget if you have, or else if you don't have, then you'll be able to compare it. You'll be able to do an actual position of the actual earnings that you got, so that tentatively you are able to compare on the two. So then you can come up with your income in terms of salary. Any other earnings apart from salary could be either, if you have a business, you can put it under business. It's either dividends, if you have other side hustle or any other source of income. So you'll be able to put it under this category. Then you'll be able to add the totals. So we could have your budget of what you expect and the actual earning that you've received at the end of the year. So you're able to compare whether you have a positive variance or a negative variance. So once you are done with your income, we'll be able to do other payments. This is what comes in, and then expenses are what goes out. So it goes out in terms of what you pay or what you incur. So in most scenario, we'll do the expenses. You can group it maybe to suit your scenario or your case. It could be a case-to-case scenario which are different. So you could also do the budget under this column, and then you could do the actual spending on this other column. So then housing, you can talk about if you are renting, then you talk about rent or mortgage with either bank or these financial institutions. So you could know either you are paying either quarterly, monthly, be able to put it, how much do you spend in terms of electricity, water, gas, internet, household and repairs, and any other expenses that is related towards your housing can always be added down here. Then we'll go to regular payment. Under regular payment, we can talk about HELB, credit cards, other loan payments, health insurance, car insurance, life insurance, and any other thing that you pay on a regular basis. So if you have more than this, you can always add them down here. Then we can talk about food also as a key expense item. So we can talk about grocery, how much do you buy, either a day. If you lump sum it per month, you could be able to total up. Eat out, if you have a family dinner or any other thing, you went for a business somewhere and you have to eat out, you can always put it under this column, plus any other expense that you are able to incur, under food expenses. Then we have the personal expenses. When you talk about personal expenses, we talk about personal care. How much do you spend to take care of yourself? And for recreational activity or entertainment, could be able to put them under this column. There's the budgeted amount per month, and then what you spend by month. If there's any other personal expenses apart from these two, you can always add it here. That's why we've listed this column. So it is not only tied to this, but it's depend on from one person to the other. Then we can talk about transportation. What is your mode of transportation on a monthly basis? Do you use fuel? Do you have a car and you spend on fuel expenses? How much do you incur? If you're using bus, taxi, train, how much do you spend? Any other thing that is related to transportation could be the parking fees. So how much do you spend on that? And if there's any other expenses here, we'll talk about boda. We could talk about motorbike, and any other means of payment can always be adjusted down here. Then we can always talk about miscellaneous expenses. Any other expenses apart from the key headlines that have been given up there. Can talk in terms of, church. We can talk about gifts. We can talk about savings. How much do you, get out from your income to save? It's also some money that goes out, but then it's towards saving. So it's just an expected amount in terms of miscellaneous expenses on a monthly basis. So if there's any other miscellaneous expenses, you can always add it here. Then we'll have our total expenses down here. So there's the budgeted in this column. Then we have the actual in this column. Then we can talk about total income minus total expenses. So we'll be able to see your budgeted amount, and then it will be compared with the actual amount. So what is your net income or net loss at the end of the month? So tentatively to be able to tell you how much do you spend on a monthly basis. Do you exceed your expectation, or are you within the budgeted limit, or you have a huge positive variance, which is okay. So this one will be able to help you to keep track of the income and the expected that an individual receives. So it's just a simple template that one can come up with. It can help you to see how you spend your money and what you expect in terms, of income. And then we also talk about the personal balance sheet. How much are you worth? People have been listening of the late about the net worth. People have been talking about net worth. So when you come to net worth, then the personal balance sheet could be able to help you in coming up with your net worth. How much do you worth at any given time? So we'll also come up with a very simple illustration that any other person can also come up with. It's not complicated as the other balance sheet, for the audited accounts. Tentatively, it's something that any other person be able to perform. So if we talk about the balance sheet, then we can talk about assets in one column. This column will be assets. And then this other side will be liabilities. Okay. So if you talk about assets, then you can talk about cash. So it could be in terms of contingency funds. If you talk about contingencies, just money set aside for any other, expected, use, emergency, or for any other purpose. So we could talk about savings, bank accounts. How many savings do you have, and how much money are in those savings? So you'll be able to do your total here. If you have fixed deposit accounts where you put in money, either on a monthly, and you have either standing order towards this, you'll be able to put the total here. Look at about the liquid mutual funds, the ones that you are able to withdraw at your will or at any given time that you have some challenges. Then we can look about investments. So investments here, if you invested in stocks, how much is that money? If you talk about mutual funds, could be either like the money market funds, if you have such accounts, either with these financial institutions that offer that, you put up for us the total. If you're in real estate, then how much is that worth? Then we can talk about other assets. So other assets, it can be grouped. It's not only limited to these three, but you can always add according to, from one individual to the other. So we can talk about car as an asset. How much is it worth? If you are to do the revaluation today, then you'll be able to know the worth of your car. We can talk about jewelry if you have some. If you've loaned, loan to family and friends, and you expect them to pay their other assets. So you could be able to add your totals here and see how much assets do you have as an individual. So then we can come to this other column for liabilities, and we can talk about secured loans. How many are they? Take loan towards car, towards your home or housing mortgage. Put it there, it's how much. Then we have unsecured loan with banks. It could be these short-term loans, credit card, personal loans, advances, and other unsecured loans. You can always add in that column. Then other payables. loan from families and friends that you've received from them and they expect you to pay within a certain time period. So how much do you owe to either family or friends? Put it there. Then you'll be able now to get your net worth, get the difference between the assets and the liabilities. Then you'll be able to know how much you are worth. So thank you. That was just a short synopsis of personal budget tracker and personal balance sheet. This is something that anyone can come up with, and then tentatively you could be able to know either you are positively or negatively affected in one way or the other. Thank you for listening to me. Bye-bye. Have a nice time. Till we meet again.